You're listening to Health Coach Conversations, a podcast where our conversations help health coaches all around the world to level up our businesses and to get more clients. Hello and welcome. Today I am speaking with Mitch Webb. This is Kathy at the Health Coach Group. Mitch is a personal health coach for men and all those needing to find their unique path to lasting health. As a certified health coach since 2016, he's helped more than 100 people get the specific plans, personalized tools, accountability, and expert support they've needed to change their lifestyles and their lives for good. Once a corporate sales executive, Mitch discovered his passion for wellness after many health curveballs, including, these are a lot, Lyme disease, 2 traumatic brain injuries, long COVID, weight loss resistance, mold toxicity, and then all the mental health impacts of it all. After visiting multiple doctors and not getting any answers, Mitch dove into the research, found a specific lifestyle that allowed him to heal himself and get his life back, and fought his way back to better many times over. Now Mitch provides his coaching clients with the deep expertise, compassion, and partnership he wished he'd had all along the way, helping them find and keep walking their personal journeys to healthier, happier lives. Based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and serving clients nationwide, Mitch can often be found nerding out about all things wellness, supporting men's mental health via his community group, Men on a Journey, and walking his 2 pups. He's happily married to his UNC alum wife, Katie. To learn more or connect with Mitch, visit mitchwebb.com. We're going to talk today about finding your unique path to lasting health and his health coaching business. So what got you interested in health coaching?
My own personal journey. So I was, 25, 26, 27 years old, working in corporate sales, successful, but my health was off. I had a history of traumatic brain injury, autoimmune disease, heavy metal toxicity, Lyme disease, mold. I was overweight at one point. Another traumatic brain injury, car accidents, and 3 COVID diagnoses, and looking for answers and, to my own problems and wanting to share that with other people is really what got me interested in coaching.
Were you a football player or hockey player or?
Yeah, I played football and baseball, basketball, wrestling, all that growing up. Yeah.
What type of clients do you work with?
Typically men 30s to 50s. They're executives, leaders, owners, and they're looking to navigate concerns around their health. That may be weight loss, low energy, diet. A lot of them are overwhelmed of where to start, and they're fed up of trying different diets and punishing workouts that aren't working out.
How do you find your clients?
They find me putting stuff out on social media. I get a lot of referrals as well.
Yeah, referrals make all the difference in the world, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
When you start having social proof of everybody doing well.
Yeah, usually it's an introduction from an old client, or I partner with a lot of different like functional medicine doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, energy workers, therapists, you name it. And same thing for me. I want people to get better, and sometimes that solution's not me, and I'm going to know that when I'm talking to them, and be able to outsource that when it's needed.
Well, and it can be you and somebody else too, right?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a thing that we see a lot of times in the more the medical, but like the health industry, right? So the doctor is not talking to the specialist, and the health coach is kind of the bridge between that to kind of get everybody on board. I think teamwork makes the dream work.
Right. Common issues clients experience before working with you?
It can be all kinds of things. Maybe they've got a diagnosis, maybe they've got pain or anxiety. That's certainly where I started. Some people are overweight, emotional issues, even not knowing where to start. They're just getting started. They don't know what to do, or they've been going one route. Like say they've been doing, I don't know, a CrossFit class for a year, and they got really good results for a while, and now they're not seeing the same results. They've hit a plateau. And that's where I would come in to try to understand what's going on, understand the goal, and then start, slowly taking steps towards that, one step at a time.
When people come to you, what is it that they're going for? Have they heard that you're great at straightening out their thought process or losing weight or getting strong? What did they hear about you that makes them come to you?
I mean, it's so individual for me. It's really meeting the person where they're at. When I first started doing this 6, 7 years ago, it was all about weight loss. And now it's more the holistic approach. And so instead of looking at things through one lens, maybe that's, it could be nutritional or exercise, mental, emotional. I try to look at the whole picture, and that one-on-one accountability, the unlimited access that they get, someone to really be their partner in this and that can take that 10,000-foot view and provide the next natural step for them. I think that's why people hire me. More and more, I've gotten more into the mental and emotional side after healing my own trauma and seeing what that does, or working on my own trauma. I wouldn't say it's healed yet, but working through that and feeling that, the mental emotional piece and maybe even the trauma, the stored stress that we have in our body from whatever it may be. I think that's the real root cause of disease and dysfunction.
What solutions do you provide?
So I'm going to customize that any plan that I'm creating for my client. And so we're going to look at things like nutrition. We're going to look at exercise. We're going to look at the mindset. We're going to look at mental, emotional support and things that are coming up from the past. And then also, like I said, the network of partnering with the functional medicine doctors, the chiropractors, the massage therapists, getting them to a therapist, get them to a support group. It's really, I try to do whatever I can to go over and above to get the client the answers they need, because I know what it's like to not have your health be at the level that you'd like it to be, and you're looking for answers. So really, I'm trying to save my clients time and energy, and get them to their solution or to the lifestyle that provides that solution as quickly as possible.
Without telling names, can you give us a success story of one of your customers, somebody that you worked with that you really saw them come in at a bad spot and saw them go out at a great spot?
Gosh, so many. One of my favorite clients was a guy he'd lost and gained 50 pounds multiple times in his life and his career. And he showed up wanting to lose that again. And he goes, "Man, I've tried everything and nothing seems to work." And, the first 2, 3 months, he probably lost 20, 30 pounds. He's doing pretty good. And then I quit hearing from him, and I was wondering where he's at. And he kind of showed up, told me he had fallen back into some old patterns. And so when we did the deeper work, so we went into the mental emotional side of things, we found that he had an experience when he was younger that he had forgotten. A lot of times we have trauma, we block that out. And he was hospitalized as a young man, I want to say in high school, for asthma. And maybe it was younger than high school, but hospitalized, had asthma. And it was so bad that the rest of his high school career, they told him, "Hey, it's not safe for you to exercise. Like, that could happen again. You could have another episode." And so what he understood is when we have trauma, it's not necessarily an event. It's how our body interprets that event and the stories or the limiting belief that it's telling, or it's kind of the filter that we see the world through, but it's unconscious. And so we're not aware of that. And so what he realized through the exercise that we were doing together was that he learned that being healthy was not safe for him. And so if something's not safe, you're going to avoid it. And so we were able to work through that, to heal that. And, I never saw him miss appointments again. He lost 75 pounds and did really good. And I still talk to him to this day. He's one of my favorite clients, and just showed the power of going that step deeper into the mental, emotional, into where all of our past exist, and really where we have the power to make new decisions and create a new future for ourselves.
We have a program, and I renamed it like 3 times before it hit the market. And finally, I renamed it Before Wellness, because it was just the mindset work that you had to do, or the de-stressing you had to do before anything would take hold. And, with your example, I see so many older people who have something go wrong and they tell them they need to quit doing things. Like my husband, he'd play pickleball and he'd play golf and he'd be out. I mean, he was busy all the time. And last year, one of the doctors told him to take it easy. He we'd still go for walks. He'd get in probably 15,000 steps a day. But how do you stay healthy when you can't play? And then how do you go back to playing again after you've been, what's the word for it, sedentary for a long time? That's it. You work a lot with people that have been sedentary and need to get up and move again.
Well, I mean, it's about meeting people where they're at and understanding what they've been doing, what they haven't been doing, and it's baby steps. It's not like we want to take someone who's been sedentary, who's had an injury or some kind of medical situation, and throw them into the deep end of the pool. That's a recipe for disaster. That's going to be injury. That's going to be illness. And you know that's myself. I was in a car accident. I didn't exercise for 4 years. I couldn't walk more than 15 minutes at a time without being fatigued for a week. And really, when I started doing the inner work is because here's the thing: if we have a dysregulated nervous system from trauma that's unprocessed and hasn't been addressed yet, or maybe we're even unaware of it, you know, one person that has a regulated nervous system, they get into a car accident and they're fine. You know, they may have some injuries and it seems as though nothing happened. But the dysregulated person whose nervous system is already, damaged from the past, that could make them now their digestion's not working. Now they have chronic fatigue. Now every time they exercise, they're wiped out. That was me, and I wasn't even aware of that until I went and did that extra step and started doing that work and created a lifestyle out of healing the past and healing that unregulated, unprocessed trauma. And that's when I started exercising again. So there's a million examples we could go over of what the person's thing is, and a lot of times it's more than one. And that's why I just don't like cookie cutter programs. I don't like these mass produced recommendations. Everything from nutrition, exercise, mindset, all this stuff is so individualized. And if we're not taking into consideration the person as a whole and looking at them from a holistic standpoint, then we're going to miss something. We're going to hurt somebody. And again, they're wasting time. And so someone coming out of something like that, it needs to be delicate. It needs to be easy at first. And, today I was deadlifting right up around 300 pounds and squatting again. And I'm really excited about that. And I never would have done that had I not had the mentors and the resources that were shared with me along the way that I'm, stoked to share with my clients now.
When you tell the guys, and I can just see some guys I know being told that they're going to do inner work, do they roll their eyes at you first?
That's a great question. Yeah. And, for men, what I've found, and I'm still trying to figure this out, so I'm open to suggestions. When it comes to working on our mental health and doing the inner work, for every 1,000 women that do this work, there's one man. And it takes someone else to show up and be vulnerable. That's me. I'm happy. I'm an open book. I'll go real deep. I'll cry with you. We'll laugh. We'll have a good time. But sometimes for men, we have to have very tangible expectations and steps along the way. So that's one thing. And then another thing is men, we do a good job of wanting to provide for other people. And so doing something for ourselves doesn't come as easy as doing it for the people that we love. And so when we can see how we're showing up and our energy is affecting our family members, our friends, our work, our business, and we can see that we can get better. I found that that's a little bit more successful is really doing it for someone else and having these step-by-step, and expectations of the outcomes of this is why you're doing it. This is what it looks like. This is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is who you're doing it for. I think the why is really, really important for men.
Does it help that you have been there and done that when you talk to people?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what so we have a men's group here. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We created a men's group. Two of my buddies, and it's called Men on a Journey. And we started with 2 or 3 guys. Now we've got probably 50 guys in the group. You'll see 20 to 30 people show up at a time, and all we do is ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing? And we didn't know how that was going to go. And what happens is one guy shows up, he pours out, he's vulnerable. He says, I feel like shit. I'm not doing good and I need some help. And everybody else, they got tears in their eyes. They're getting excited. They're raising their hand. And what happens is it's like magic. I mean, the average number of the group, if we're saying, how are you on a scale of 1 to 10, and guys show up at a 4, they're an 8 when they leave. Because us guys, we feel like we're the only one that feels that way, that nobody else on earth has ever experienced this kind of, whatever it is, pain, anxiety, a diagnosis, a relationship issue. We carry that and we stuff that deep down. And I think that's why the ladies are living longer, because we've got all these suppressed emotions and past traumas that are asking for, begging for, screaming at us for our attention and for healing. But we've never been taught how to let that out. I always say better out than in. And whenever one guy does it, it seems like the rest of us start to do it as well, because we feel safe and supported, and we go, man, I'm going through the same thing. And if this guy can open up and share and be vulnerable, and this is a safe place, then I can do that as well. And over time, the group, I mean, these guys, it's amazing to watch. So guys are no less emotional than women. We just get taught by society to suck it up and don't be a bitch, and all that toxic stuff that really is devastating for our health.
Do you think that men handle stress better than women, or do you think they just don't handle it?
I think they stuff it down and suppress it. There was a podcast we were doing, and I thought it was a really good question. It was like, what's the difference between compartmentalizing something and suppressing something? And it kind of threw the guy off, because that's what we get taught. Hey, man, this is not the time or the place. Suck it up. Even as an athlete, I'll give you an example of overriding at that level. So as an athlete, we get taught, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, is we get taught, are you injured, or are you hurt, or are you injured? Meaning, can you play? Right. And so a lot of times we get taught to override that. So when I'm learning about overriding myself and overriding the emotions, I'm meeting with my trainer. Guy's a big boy. He's 300 pounds. And my hip was out of place. And he was going to kind of put that back in so I could squat. So we were stretching. I'm on my back. He slips, put all that 300 pounds on my knee, snaps my IT band. And I felt my hip go in. I felt the pop on my IT band, but I was so excited that my hip went in. I went and PR'd, which means I set a personal record for myself. I squatted 250 pounds for 5. And I didn't feel it because my adrenaline was so high, because I'd been taught to override that my whole life. Right. And so I got home that evening and I couldn't walk. Now that taught me, hey, I got to start listening to my body. I got to start being in my body, being in my surroundings, orienting and following my impulse. So a lot of times we feel like we want to express ourselves or do something in the moment, push away, walk away, speak up. And when we do that, when we hold that inside, we suppress that, we get sick. And so that's what I found is just an easy way to illustrate that. But the more we hold in, the worse it feels. And there's a better answer. We just hadn't been taught it.
What does it take to heal?
I'm going to quote one of my mentors, Irene Line, on that. And she says, everybody can heal, but not everybody will. And it takes 2 things. You have to believe that it's possible, and you have to believe that you deserve it. And so what does it take? It takes a lot of stuff, man. Everybody loves to get on a podcast and ask me, like, Mitch, what did it take? What's the one thing you did? I have no idea. I've done so many things over the years that helped. But I will say that the past and processing the unregulated, unprocessed trauma from the past, the mental emotional stuff is number one. When you get that right, just like the example that I shared earlier with my client who understood a limiting belief that he had that was in the way of him creating the future that he wanted. When we can get clear on that and work through that, not around it, not avoiding it, we go through it, then the rest of the stuff's easy. The exercise is easy. The nutrition is easy. And that's kind of how it goes with my clients. It's not like I'm going to throw somebody into mental emotional work or trauma work that's not ready for that. That's ridiculous. I meet people where they're at. And I think that's important as well. Meet people where they're at and figure out what's the lowest hanging fruit right now. So somebody that comes in and they're overweight, let's get you eating, let's get you moving. And that'll go well until it doesn't. And that limiting belief is going to show itself. And by then, we've usually built enough rapport in the relationship that I can go, hey, man, what's that thing? Because what it is it's like this, it's like right there in our field that everybody else can see and they're all affected by it. We can all feel it. We all know Bob is kind of an asshole, but like Bob doesn't know that until it shows up when he's working towards something he wants. And so if he wants it bad enough and we built that rapport and we're comfortable with each other, we can start to have that conversation and kind of peel back those layers. And so I like to start where the person needs the most help and is most willing to make change there. And then over time, the nasties and the stuff that needs to really be addressed, it comes up.
You think a lot of people feel unworthy?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's our society, right? Like we're taught that we compare ourselves to we look at social media, we compare the worst part of ourselves to the best part of someone else. So we're looking at strangers that are putting stuff out there and comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so when we're comparing ourselves to other people, it makes us feel like crap. And so yeah, we don't feel worthy, and that's a big reason why people are coming to this work. And there's a lot of options from the health industry that says, here's this punishing workout, here's this restrictive diet that's going to make you whole, and that's not what make you whole. It usually drives you into a bigger hole, And so it's just getting clear on those limiting beliefs and who we really are at our core and what we want. And if we want it bad enough, if the why is big enough, we'll do it. And it doesn't have to be big, scary, and hard to do. That's what we get sold. It's in a pill, or it's got to be hard, or you got to punish yourself. And that's not what health is. Health should be easy and effortless. And you got to get clear on why you're doing it to make that happen.
Yeah. Great. Well, this has been a great talk. I appreciate you being here with me today. You have a free 30-minute consult call for listeners, right?
Yep. Yeah, they can reach out at mitchwebb.com. There's a contact page there. You can also find me, Mitch Webb on Instagram, Mitch Webb on LinkedIn.
Yeah, because we know even the caretakers they're sometimes the ones that need the most help, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 therapists, a trainer, and a business coach. So, I'm all about I know what I'm good at, and I know what I need help on, and I'm going to outsource that. And it just works better like that for me.
Support works.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to the show. If you liked what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating or review on iTunes.